are so funny. You're trying to get me to do this stupid shit. And
she just whispered, "I'm a bad bitch," for anyone who didn't hear. Stop. 420.
I'm lit at Disney.
And the kids asleep in the bath.
There we go.
A ball sack station.
That's what a business owner looks like. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Tattoo Homewreckers. This is a podcast where we talk about tattoos, life, and everything in between. Mostly everything in between. My name is Callista, and this is my very best friend, Lou, with me.
What if I just didn't speak at all?
That threw me for a loop a little bit. I said, what else do I say after that?
You're like, I don't remember what I'm supposed to say.
I actually don't know my line.
Do you have a line?
My line right now is it's 8:00 and we're finally starting.
Yeah,
right?
8:00 and it's 2 days after we're supposed to record the podcast, and we're finally recording the podcast.
So here we are.
But I am really excited before we talk about our genders and what they feel like today.
Yes.
I am really excited about today's topic, which if you've read the title, you know what it is, which is deconstructing the patriarchy.
Yeah, period. Relationship edition.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we have been doing so much work around this around the house and learning so much, and we found like an awesome fucking YouTube channel where it's amazing.
I think her name's Therese.
Yeah.
And I actually don't know her YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure it's
just Therese.
Right?
Yeah,
she's amazing, and we've been putting her videos on whenever we just need something quick to like put on the TV while we're in between doing crazy things, getting ready for the convention. So just like 15-minute breaks and learning about the patriarchy and then back to it. So
multiple times today our brains have been broken by the things she said.
Absolutely.
So we want to share that with you.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Because the patriarchy affects everyone.
Period.
But before we get into that, what does your gender feel like?
My gender kind of feels like a toothpick with a little splinter coming off of it. Yeah, like she's about to poke you in a not good way.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Absolutely.
A not good pokey. That's awesome.
Just a little extra something. How about you?
I don't even know, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm so exhausted. The hormones do be whoring and moaning.
Hormoning.
Yeah, they do be hormoning and not in a good way. It has been a rough, just predominantly a rough 2 days. I was hyper fixated on getting stuff ready for the convention 2 days prior to that, and it was great and gravy. And then I hit a fucking wall where my body just said, no, thank you, Diva. Yeah. I don't want to do that anymore. And we went to the gym.
We did.
And I fucking just had hot flash after hot flash after hot flash after hot flash. And it was gnarly and it was terrible because it would subside for a second so then I could actually work out. And then they would come back. And if you have not experienced a hot flash, it literally feels like when you are peaking on the flu. So right as you're in that fit of despair that you are oh my God, I don't know if I can do this, of your fever is about to break when you are sick. That's what it feels like. Yeah. Except that you don't have the at least for me when I was oh my God, my fever's about to break. So it would peak really high and you're but I know that then I'll get better. You don't have that feeling with a hot flash. You just get all of the sensations of nausea. You sometimes want to shit yourself because your body's overheating so much. Nothing you do externally helps. You do want to take off all your clothes because that feels like it will help. And you also feel like you're being suffocated and drowned simultaneously from the inside and just pure raw panic. So I'm trying to not cry in the middle of working out, and you also get really, really dizzy. So you're okay, I might pass out. I don't know
how hard
what's
can
gonna
I push
happen
before I pass out. And do I keep going or do I take a second to stop?
Yeah, and so that was just happening where I would get one, and then it lasts probably a minute and a half, and then I'd be okay, it has passed. Now I can do some movements. So I'd do some cleans and then it would happen again. and I'd be on the bike and it would happen, and I'd be at like a really good pace where I'm like, awesome, feeling good. Me and Callie are same speed. Mm-hmm. And then my whole body would just start to shut down. Yeah. And you're just fighting it in the fucking muck, trying to not cry. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's rough, dude.
And that's been my day. It's just been cycles of hot flashes.
Yep.
It'd be crazy.
Yeah, lots to look forward to. Anybody who may or may not, I'm saying may or may not.
Yeah.
If you have the bits, you'll probably experience perimenopause at some point in your life. So it's better to start researching about what it does to your body now than be blindsided in the future, which happens to a lot of women. There's not a lot of talk around perimenopause.
I was saying that to somebody earlier because they asked me how I was doing, and I was like, I am in the throes of just like a hot flash attack. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh yeah, it is kind of warm in here. And I was like, no, I am having hot flashes. And she looked at me so confused. And she was like, I'm going to see Menopause the musical tonight. My mom's taking me because she is like, oh, you need to learn about this because you're like about that age. Mm-hmm. And she's like, what? I'm too young. And she's about the same age as me. So I'm like, Diva, you are not too young. Yeah, it is coming for you.
Period.
She will hit all of us that have the parts.
So insane.
Yeah, but I heard that on the other side it's great. Yeah. So I'm excited for, the 10 years or so until I can get to the other side.
Totally.
And before you drop in the comments of HRT doing that, thank you.
Yeah, already
it mitigates some of the symptoms, but it does not completely relieve them.
Also, I know our listeners can't see this right now, but the sunset right now, or viewers can't see this right now. The sunset's
is really pretty.
The sun is shining for you. Way to go. You defeated the battle against consistency.
I did. Yeah. I still went to the gym. Yeah. So that's
another day. Yep. You showed up and you did it. So good for you. That's more than most of us can hope, right?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So do you want to start us off?
Yeah.
Do you want to do an overview of what we're going to talk about, and then we can dig in?
Absolutely. We're going to talk about deconstructing. Thank you. I like doodling. That's how I stay focused as an ADHD person. I will start doodling when people are talking, but I am focusing. I just need something to do with my hands. Mm-hmm. Deconstructing the lie. We're going to talk about decentering men. We're going to talk about romance being moved to your friends. And then deconstructing the lie that we've been sold, and what is the lie? And grief versus celebration around singlehood. So as you can tell, this podcast episode has a lot to do with like relationships and how the patriarchy has essentially, sold us a lie. Yeah. Sold us a lie of this. So before we get into decentering men, I think we should actually, start with what is the lie that the patriarchy is selling us.
We've been talking a lot because I think we started with decentering men. Yeah. Like when we were talking about like the whole like patriarchy, and there's a lot of discussion of that online right now where it's talking about like decentering men in your life, decentering the male gaze. Totally. And then you were telling me about a conversation that you were having about romance and with somebody else, and like just where people are in that place. And then I've been having a couple conversations where people are like, I'm just really like accepting being alone. And I was listening to like all of these different areas talk about like this idea of a relationship, and I say it in quotations because it is a lie. It is that even if you are in a relationship, you are lonely a lot.
Oh yeah, totally.
And that is something that we don't talk about because that makes people really uncomfortable to be like, no, you're still lonely. And like when you talk about like, oh, like as somebody who talks to tons of women, and I am talking from the like female perspective on this about like relationships, because that's what my clients and I talk about a ton, is I have yet to meet a woman who is like having the conversation is like, you know what? I am so satisfied in my marriage. I'm getting like the correct attention. I feel seen. I feel heard. I feel understood. I feel like in this relationship, I'm going on like all the dates that I want to go on. I feel prioritized. I feel special. Like all the things that we talk about as single people. And we're like, I just want to have a relationship so I can feel special and so I can go on dates and I can do all these things, do not actually exist in the current construct of marriage or of like a relationship. Like I don't meet people that are like, oh my God, I'm 100% happy. It's amazing. And so we were talking about how like that whole idea of a relationship fills all of these buckets is a fucking lie that we're all being sold. Absolutely. We're being sold it by Hollywood. We're being sold it amongst ourselves. We fucking perpetuate the lie.
Well, we're also policing ourselves. So we're policing the rest of society to make sure that like you're upholding this idea that the relationship is perfect, and you're also upholding the idea that this person is perfect.
Yes.
Right? And I think it boils down to the fact that the lie is like our lives are only going to be whole and perfect and fixed after we meet, quote unquote, the one. Yeah. So it's, even if it's not marriage, it's you're in a relationship that's going to fix your problems. It's
you need a partner.
Yeah. It's going to gain points out of society. You're going to look better. There's also part of the lie is that, people who are single are less than. Yeah. Because they haven't been picked. Right?
Yeah. Can you talk more about the being picked? Yeah. I think that's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing that, like, society has taught us as little girls that, like, you need to be chosen. Like, he chooses you. Yep. He will take you. Your worth is tied to the fact that somebody in the patriarchy can vouch for you. Or just...
And he's given you his name.
But in all reality, he's taken yours. He's robbed you of yours.
I think, like, the quote that I loved earlier was that when we sign up for marriage, we sign up for indentured servitude.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that men do not want their property to argue back with them.
Right. There's this idea that marriage equals partnership or a relationship equals partnership. But in a lot of heteronormative relationships, it's actually just servitude.
Yeah, because it is.
When you boil it down, does this guy actually... There's a lot of internet talk about this as well. Is like, does your boyfriend even actually like you? Yeah. As a person, not love you. Let's throw out love. Let's throw out romance. Let's throw out lust. Any of that. But does he actually like you as a person? Does he see you as a friend? Does he see you as an equal?
Does he ask your opinions on things? Yeah. Not for you to make decisions, but opinion on things and listen to you. Right. Or when your opinion differs from him, does he argue with you? And I get it. Within the patriarchal structure, we teach little boys and men that the only way that they can show emotion is through fighting. Absolutely. So when you bring up a very valid point, the only thing they know how to do is fight you because that's the only way they've been taught to communicate. But that's also not liking someone. Yeah. Like, do you have a better relationship communication-wise and feeling seen and heard with this person that is supposed to be your number one, your ideal, this, like, perfect concept? Do you have a better relationship with them or more fun with them than you do your friends? Like, or is that the lie that we've been sold? Well, that one person...
Yeah. That's also part of the lie, is that this relationship will be greater than and higher up and more respected than any of your friendships. So any of the deep, long-lasting connections that you've made, like, fall short to this romantic relationship, which is, like, part of that deprogramming and decentering men is realizing that, like, when you're single, it's not that you're accepting the idea of being alone and you're happy about being alone. You're not actually alone. It's leveling it. It's going, I'm not alone. I'm happy to be loved by my friends. And I am happy outside
to not be someone's servant.
To not be someone's servant. I was thinking about how, like, I inadvertently thought about, like, not being married in terms of grief instead of in terms of celebration. Not a lot of, like, I haven't seen a lot of content around women celebrating that they made the choice to not get married. And that's bonkers, because a lot of it, society looks at unmarried women or, like, just single women with pity in their eyes. But why? It is the equivalent of deciding not to have kids.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, about, like, the decision to get married should be considered in the same, like, ballpark as the decision to have children. Right. Because, and it's definitely for my generation was not in that same, like, conversation. That, like, even for, like, me deciding I don't want to have kids, there was tons of people that were like, but you have to, because we were all taught that, like, you have to get married, you have to have kids. Right. And I was part of that, like, belief structure when I was young as well, of, like, oh, but I have to do this. Yes. And I remember the moment where I was like, wait, this is a choice. I can decide to not have kids. Yeah. And by that point I was already married, and I never thought that, like, you could decide to not get married. I thought if you didn't get married, it's because you didn't get picked. Right. It's because you did something wrong, which is why you weren't like chosen.
Or it's this idea that the rest of society looks at you and they're like, oh honey, you're just a placeholder.
Yeah.
You know, like the rest of society has this weird time limit on relationships. It's like, well, if you're not married, then what are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's because, again, if we perpetuate this belief system that the pinnacle is for you to be married, then you will willingly, it is the whole like tricking the cattle to go into the slaughterhouse. Mm-hmm. So you will willingly enter into this structure that then all of a sudden your household duties as a woman increase. Mm-hmm. Men's decrease, women's drastically increase.
Totally.
And so thinking, and like kind of actually to back up a little bit, thinking about in the sense that when you hear women talk about their husbands, there's always this joke about like, oh yeah, I have 3 kids and a husband, so basically 4 kids.
Yeah, totally.
And part of that is because what the patriarchy does is it robs men from being able to see any of the domestic duties that they should also be doing because they are full-grown fucking adults.
Yeah.
As their responsibility, their job, anything. But we are all perpetuating this idea that it is a woman's job to do it, which means that if I convince you that your ultimate role is wife and mother, you will walk into those roles mm-hmm. with blindfold on, be like, hell yeah, I'm going to do this. And then what happens is that you go, oh my God, this is not everything I thought it would be. I mm-hmm. thought that this person would make me feel special. And instead I feel misunderstood most of the time. Mm-hmm. Instead, I'm up late doing all this stuff for the kids, doing all this stuff for like the house. And no one's saying thank you. No one's appreciating it.
What's that one Michelle Obama quote that like marriage really is just 2 people sitting at dinner talking about completely different perspectives on mm-hmm. the same thing.
Yeah. Well, that's like good marriage.
That's good marriage too. Yeah. But even that, it takes a lot of work and like a lot of like lonely nights on women's end. I think it's that like, again, I think the term emotional labor is also a new thing that's been coming up over the last few years mm-hmm. of like women are expecting more out of a relationship because now we have more independence. Our independence and our freedom is no longer tied to whether or not we have a man to vouch for us. We are able to...
we're allowed to have our own money.
Yes,
now.
As single women, like mm-hmm. we are able to have our own careers, control our own money, pay our own rent, pay our own like birth control, depending on what state you're in the U.S. or what country you're in, mm-hmm. obviously. But now that we're at this point of like liberal, independent women... we're seeing, I saw this reel earlier, that Gen Z has some of the most liberated women, but is also producing some of the most like traditional men.
Well, yeah, we're watching that video talking about how mm-hmm. like the point of like men throughout the patriarchy in that construct is to control women. Mm. So as women gain more independence, then they have nothing. They're like, well, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah, they don't want to work anymore. They don't want to like, they don't really find any like joy out of anything now because there's no, it's like they're just aimlessly mm-hmm. wandering around because they don't have a woman like driving their lives anymore. Because women have officially stepped back from that. Mm-hmm. Not all women, obviously. We come from very different generations. You growing up and being subscribed to the idea that you had to get married, and then me now realizing that like, no, I have other options.
Yeah.
Starting with that mm-hmm. is crazy because yes, I do have the power of choice, but then I also have the like crippling realization that like I have to deconstruct this. This isn't what I thought it was.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's
I think that is honestly like a little bit more liberating mm-hmm. than what happens to most women. Yeah. Which is you get into it and then you realize this is not what I thought totally. It was.
It's kind of like
choose. And then you're like, yeah, you are in the middle of it and you're mm-hmm. like, oh my God, what the fuck do I do? And the amount of women I have held in my chair crying about the fact that they're like, I didn't sign up for this.
For another kid, basically.
Because again, we all signed up for a lie. And mm-hmm. we walked into it thinking that it was going to be something else. Yeah. And then you're like, I just signed up to be an indentured servant. Like, that's it. I signed up to like manage his emotions, manage his calendar, do all these things. Mm-hmm. And if I want to have romance in my life, I have to deflect that to my friends. My friends are the ones that are going to take me out to fancy dinners and go on, and we call them girls' trips. Mm-hmm. But like,
or friend dates.
Yeah, or friend dates. But like, I have to then, this person's not going to do this for me. And if I'm lucky, I'll get that like once a month or so. But if you don't subscribe to that, like tying yourself down to one particular human being and being like, this person's going to be everything for me, you then find that like the women who did not subscribe to it are living these like beautiful, rich lives. We have the statistics that state that single women are happier than married women. They also live longer.
Yeah, they live longer. They're not under the constant cortisol of like, does he actually care about me? Does he see me? Why doesn't he help out around the house? Like, if
it's not even that. It's, is he eating vegetables? Is he taking care of himself?
Yeah, it's not just that. It's also, is he managing himself? Is he taking care of himself? But like on top of that, it's again the added stress of worrying about a whole other human, and then worrying about whether or not that person actually cares about you, because that's what you've been told. You have been programmed to believe that this person chose you, so you're the love of their life. And they'll always show that to you. But that's not the case. That is not the case at all. It's like a scary topic to think about. But like, it's the patriarchy living and making sure I feel like it's just making sure it creates more babies that will fall into the same system.
Well, like, yeah, because it's like, that capitalistic society that it's all the unpaid labor of women that props up the society.
Yeah.
So it's like you do need more like children to continue, but you need, in order for capitalism to work, you need to get all of the unpaid labor of rearing children and taking care of families and taking care of households done for free. So you need the female workforce to do all of that.
Yeah. And I think too, just to like circle back to like, what is the lie in that like a relationship will fix you or like gain you more social status or whatever. I don't know. I feel like I have met a lot more people who are happier when they're single. And like you said, the statistics are true. Like single women are happier because they're devoting that energy that they would have spent like constantly worrying about like, why doesn't he understand me? Like, why do I have to teach him what empathy is? Or why do I have to teach him how to consider me? All of that energy is now going towards themselves and their own lives. And like, I think that's like direct proof that like a relationship doesn't fix you. You fix you. Your energy is so valuable, and it's not like it's a finite resource in the sense of like where you decide to put it, it can die. If you decide to put these seeds down on earth that cannot produce a garden, those seeds will go nowhere. That energy will die. That hard work that you just put into water everything and fertilize everything, it'll still die. So why not focus on the relationships in our lives that continue to grow and grow with us and teach us things? And that's where like I think we can start to transition into like romance going into your friends.
I want to add one thing there, and it's the concept, like, again, of that decentering men, is that we think about like a glow up that a woman has after a breakup, and we always think about it like, oh, it's a revenge body. It's like, no, it's because
it has nothing to do with him.
Yeah, because now she can just spend time and energy on herself. She isn't eating junk food with him every fucking night because that's the only thing his toddler ass will eat.
It has nothing to do with him. It has nothing to do with her ex. It has nothing to do with any of that. Yep. It has everything to do with the fact that she was spending all of that energy into this barren land that couldn't grow anything, and now she's able to grow a garden within herself.
Well, and even if it can grow, even if like you have a good guy who's like putting in the work, their version of that, it's still you teaching them everything. So every conversation you're having to dumb it down and teach them, because the patriarchy strips that of boys. And like the actual solution there is choosing to teach boys how to actually just be competent human beings that can regulate their own emotions and understand consequences.
Well, also like understand empathy and be able to read be able to read people's like faces and understand social cues. I think a lot of like the struggles I've had in my heteronormative relationships was the fact that like there was no reading of social cues. A lot of like single men walk around just expecting their like partners to bend to their will. Like,
well, I mean, that's married men too. Yeah, that's just men.
Yeah, this is the homeostasis of like, we're going to sit on the couch this way in a way that I'm comfortable, and I'm not going to care how you sit, but you need to mold around me.
Yep.
Like you need to be able to like be comfortable around the way that I sit, not a give and take kind of thing.
Well, because that's the structure of the patriarchy, which is that it's a hierarchy and men exist on top. So they don't think about below. Because again, when you think about this hierarchical sense of like, you are my property. And I know that a lot of people get upset when they hear that, but that is what the like structure of marriage, like the foundation of marriage is. And we didn't lose that over time. That's why people are now opting out of marriage, because they are seeing the actual structure of, wait, we definitely, like, I signed up to be an indentured servant, and only now can I look back and be like, holy fucking shit. Caboose and I had this conversation earlier. He's like, yeah, I think we both didn't know what we were signing up for, and that's definitely what we signed up for.
Yeah.
That we got married, and even before then, when we started dating, it was like, okay, I'll take care of all these things. And the reason why it offends people when I say I don't cook is because if you were to say, okay, this is just a person, where I'm like, I don't cook for him. The reason that's so offensive is because you are thinking the same way as I, a servant, do not cook for my master. I do not do these things for him. And why is it like that your automatic assumption is that I would? And that's because that automatic assumption is that I'm supposed to take care of him. The same reason that when we walk into a woman's house and she's married and the house is a mess, we judge the woman. We don't judge the man. The same way that if we walked in and saw it was like, oh, you have like, you know, a maid, and you'd be like, wow, your maid didn't do a very good job cleaning up, because we think of women in that sense. And so we all signed up for that when we walked into it not knowing what the fuck we signed up for. And now people are opting out of it.
Yeah. Totally. People are opting out because it's not feasible. It's not like they're starting to see the actual lie from the women who have existed before us. Like,
yeah, I think it's because you don't have to, because like we were the first generation that started to have options, but before that you couldn't. So like now that you have options, you can be like, this is not feasible. Whereas before, like you couldn't have a credit card without a man. You couldn't like do anything without a man. Like to have that. So you needed that.
Yeah, totally.
Because same as like now you don't get as much like social clout. Like there's still the like social capital of like, oh, I'm married.
Yeah.
But like men have a much higher success rate with that social capital of I'm married and I have kids. And then women bear the brunt of that. Because if you have kids as a woman, you're not getting the job for most jobs.
Well, there's a lot of like internalized work that needs to be done to be able to not look at yourself if you are single out there, and if you've ever thrown yourself a pity party. Lord knows I have as well. There's a lot of internalized work that you need to do in order to realize that like your life does not mean nothing when you're single. It's that idea, again, like this idea that like I look at people who are single with grief instead of celebration. Where I should be celebrating their independence.
Yeah.
You know, I should be celebrating the fact that like they have not settled for less. They don't want to settle for less.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. About the difference there is we blame the person that says, oh, you have a bad picker. And it's like,
yeah,
do you have a bad picker or did you not just settle? Because so many people that are in like long-term relationships.
It's a lot of victim blaming mentality of like whenever one of your homegirls breaks up with her boyfriend and like you guys are finally able to talk all the shit that you've wanted to say but like haven't been able to. A lot of people will be like, yeah, God, what a great picker you have. But it's not that. Like we should be celebrating her. I'm happy that you gave it a go and you realize that like you no longer wanted to do that. That takes guts.
Yeah, I don't even think it's that I'm happy you gave it a go. It's I'm happy that you aren't settling for all the other things that so many women are settling for.
Yeah.
Because think about how many women are married that were like their partners are a piece of shit.
Totally.
And so it's like, no, being single means you chose yourself instead of choosing that same fight that happens over and over and over again for the rest of your life.
Or that,
you
like,
said, I don't want to do that. So you actually made the better decision. But the reason why as a society we're like, oh no, we're going to victim blame or feel bad for you is because on a societal level, the patriarchy doesn't work if people keep choosing themselves.
Oh, for sure.
And not choosing to be oppressed.
Well, something that Therese had also said, again, I really want to circle to like, or transition into romance being moved to friends, because I feel like that is like a concept that like I haven't really been hearing before discussed online. But something that Therese had said was that community gives you more options.
Yeah.
So if you are able to basically isolate yourself and it's just you and your partner, your wife, your husband, whatever, and it's just the two of you and you're always putting that relationship at the pinnacle of the mountain and all of your friendships go down the drain or whatever it may be, you start talking to people less, you're devoting all of your time and energy to the one person, you have less options. There is this idea of like, there is no escape. Not saying that you need an escape, but like you should be able to still hear other people's experiences, get the validation you want from other people, because when you're in an echo chamber with another person like that, I think it's really easy to lose yourself, especially as women. It's easy for women to convince themselves like, of course he loves me, he does this, and not have a friend there going, but do you feel loved?
Yep. Yeah.
Do you feel seen? Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel understood? And so when it comes to romance being moved to friends, I think that was a really hard concept that I struggled with for years and years and years. And now I feel like I'm finally at that like 32 degrees with it.
Yeah.
Because again, there's a lot of internalized work that I had to do around the idea of like, oh, well, I'm just alone again. I'm never alone.
No.
I have you. I have Caboose. I have so many friends that like back me up and see me and appreciate me and like make me feel like a badass when I don't feel like that. And deconstructing the statement of like, oh yeah, I'm just like happy being alone. Like you're not alone though.
Yeah.
Your friendships are like where you need to plant your seeds. Like those are the people that like build you up. My life is so whole. It's so full already. A partner doesn't make it any more whole, actually. No. Like
I feel like you lose yourself more in a relationship than you ever do in friendships.
Totally.
And for me, I think like on the other side, like I've always struggled because like I hate the fact that I have to, because when I say that you're my partner, I'm like, oh, well, I don't want her to get upset. So I have to like preface like, oh, this is my business partner and my best friend. And I'm like, no, I see you as like my partner.
Totally.
And like, I think what we have is romantic. Like, that's why for me, like us having a 10-year like celebration has always been a big deal. That I'm like, I don't understand why I was allowed to have a wedding with Caboose and I'm not allowed to have a wedding with you. Where I'm like, but we choose each other every single day.
Bitch,
and
we make beautiful things together every single day. Like we've done so much shit together. The business is like the way it is because of the love that we have for each other.
Yes.
And it's just poured into something that is like finally an object out into this universe. And
like that's what kills me is it's like when people are like, no, like, oh, I'm going on, like we talked about this earlier, like I hate it being like, oh, I'm going on a friend date, and I'm like, no, I'm going on a date.
Yeah.
Why the fuck do we have to like, can we stop putting like this, like stop putting romance purely on like basically what you're all making it out to be, which is a sexual thing, which is very different because again, you have lots of sex that's not romantic.
Well, even then, is it just lust? Like you can argue that it's just lust at that point. Like it's not actually romance if like you guys are just wanting to jump each other's bones. Romance is intimacy.
Yes.
It's you and I going out to a nice dinner and talking
dressing
about
up,
like dressing
feeling
up,
special, feeling so pretty,
and feeling celebrated by each other, and that's intimate. And you know what else is intimate? Asking each other deep questions, like just like what our thoughts are about literally anything. Anything.
Yeah.
How do you think this works? What does that look like to you?
Like, I've cried more love songs about you than I do about like anyone else. That I'm like, oh my God, this is it. Like I watch movies and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's how I feel about Callie. And it like pisses me off that it's like, I have to like make sure that I'm really careful to be like, well, I love my husband. I'm married. See, he's like this, like, and it has to be in this weird hierarchical sense of like, no, I have two people that I'm fortunate enough to like love to pieces. Now, one person gets me more than the other person because we don't have the difference of gender and like the construct that he was raised within of like what understanding looks like and what actually having somebody's like assuming the best in them actually looks like. And that's not his fault. I mean, it's his work to do, but it's not his fault because the patriarchy taught him that. But I think it's like, it really just is something I'm really struggling with, having like so many friends that are currently battling like being single.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're not like in that place of like celebrating where it's like, but I know both sides. And again, like I am married and I've been with my husband for, oh my God, 18 years. And yet I can be like, but if you are choosing yourself, like, that's a beautiful thing, because it's really hard in a marriage. And again, I'm fortunate enough to not have to worry about kids in this matter. Totally. Where I'm not having to like have that take all of my autonomy away from me.
Yeah.
But like the actual like celebration of choosing yourself over and over again. And if you want to have like relationships that are, you know, whatever, committed to each other, then that's fine. But still remembering to actually date your friends. And I think that's something we've been talking about, where it's like, but that's like the most important thing, because like I come back from hanging out with you and going and like having like dinner and going out, and I feel so fulfilled, like emotionally, that I'm like, oh my God, we got to have silly goose and a gaff, and we get to have like silly, like good conversation.
We could both be having a shit day, but like still be able to turn it around.
Yes.
You know? Like, or like at least like, even if we're still in a shit mood, we're able to like have that and share that experience.
Yeah,
and that's intimacy.
You get actual validation. And to me, that's what romance is that like connection, where it's like, to me, that feeling of romance that like they show in movies, and they only show it in these like what we deem to be like predominantly sexual relationships, that is what we tend to think of as like romance, is like in it, like where it's like, oh my God, but he like sees me like no one else. Diva, we all have friends that do that to us. Like if you invest in those relationships, they do that. And it's not this lie of like, only this person can see me like that. Like, no, you can fill your life with people that are like, oh my God, I love this about you.
Totally.
And like, I see those little things about you, and you're not begging for it. Whereas so many relationships, like marriage and dating and boyfriends and girlfriends and shit, so many of those conversations are like, I just feel like I'm begging to be seen. So it's like, can we stop prioritizing that? Let that, like, if that happens, cool, gravy, whatever.
Yeah.
But go into it with a fucking opened, like, your eyes open to whatever you're going to give up for that. And then just start going on dates with your friends. Be like, I have a gym date. I have like, we're going to dinner. We're having a romantic candlelit dinner. Because you and I have had candlelit dinner so many fucking times. And I genuinely come back being like, I feel pretty. You always comment on my outfits. I always comment on yours.
Period.
We just spend the entire time hyping each other up. And like, you're not getting that going on a date with a dude.
Totally. No, you're
He's
not.
He's never going to go, oh my God, I love the gold accents on your eyeliner that match your belt, bitch.
How'd you do that? Good. Yeah. Oh my God.
What made you think of that connection?
Totally. That is awesome. Like, I appreciate it.
He's not over here going, okay, I don't love Hereditary, but I want to know why you love it so I can love it. Tell me about all the stuff. I don't understand this music. It sounds like robots having sex. Explain to me what it is. What does it do to your brain? And then you explain the fucking magic that happens inside of your brain. So the next time I hear robots having sex, I'm like, that's amazing. That is so cool that it like can do that to you. Like that is what we're all craving in movies. And that happens in, it's like it's what we're all craving because of movies. Because that's what they show you is like, but this person's going to ask you all these crazy deep questions. You know who does that? Your friends.
Yeah, period.
The people you are actually in relationship with. The people who are like, oh no, I want to know all of that. The ones that take a picture of your feet when you're thinking, and you have your little fucking thinking toes on.
And you're like, whoa.
And promptly delete them from my phone because I don't want that on my phone.
It's so funny.
But like that, the person who sees those little things that matter, that's what you want. And you, not person, but you want people that do that. And you want multiple of those people.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, what is that age old quote? Like, to be seen is to be loved.
Yes.
And to be loved is to be changed. And like humanity is literally just the universe experiencing itself. And I think it's so saddening to watch like romantic relationships be so twisted and also put on this like pedestal that like isolates people. It does the opposite of like allowing you to experience more and to experience like, and allowing you to really take the time to, like you said, date your friends, allowing you to pour that energy into these close relationships that like these people will see you, they'll understand you, they'll get you,
Mm-hmm.
because they are not operating in this relationship with the rules of a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm supposed to put on a facade of like what you might want in a partner.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like not like, no,
Cook.
the whole point of friendship is for us to just get to know each other.
Yeah.
That's what happens in dating is like, yeah, people are they're fucking bullshit. They're like, oh, we're just getting to know each other. No, you're both putting on a show.
Yes, because you both want to be picked.
You both want to be
picked. And so you're
picked.
not actually telling someone who the fuck you
But
are.
also that's where the curiosity dies. And the curiosity fucking dies in that relationship. And curiosity, we've talked about this as well. I forgot to write it down. Curiosity is like such a main like connecting point of connection.
Yeah.
You cannot have connection without curiosity, because like the whole point of us experiencing it's knowing each other.
Yep.
Right? And so when you're putting on a show because both of you want to be picked, there's no more curiosity.
Yeah.
Because you're too afraid. There's that weird like, what
and
is that?
It's where because there are different rules for, well, I hate the term romantic relationship because I'm trying to make sure your friends are like your romantic relationship.
Yeah.
But for
your sexual partners.
Yeah. I think that's it. Is that there's different rules for your sexual partners, because again, that is the only fundamental difference. The only fundamental difference between you and Caboose is that I have sex with Caboose and I don't have sex with you.
Totally.
Is that I am not physically attracted to you, but I'm physically attracted to him.
Yes.
But then because of the structure of society, there's stuff that I can say to you that are acceptable that I can't say to him. I can I can't, talk about his body because that's not okay, but I can just blatantly talk to you about your body. I can talk to you about your haircuts, but if I talk to him about a haircut, people are like, don't dictate what he gets to do.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, oh my God, there's just completely different rules that apply. And that's why we go into it and we're like, okay, so I have to figure out the nicest way that I can tell my boyfriend that I don't like chocolate and he keeps buying me chocolate. Whereas if you had friends, you would just be like, thank you so much. I don't like chocolate.
Yeah.
I love you.
And your friend's like, oh my God, no worries.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, please don't worry about it. And also isn't massively offended.
Totally.
And that's the difference, is that in your friendships, you have so much more leeway.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we need to build the world off of that structure and not go into it to be like, okay, so what, this one fucking relationship that we decide is the ideal relationship that is actually the most restricting of ourselves.
Yeah. And restricting of other people.
Yeah.
In those relationships.
Well, it's restricting, both people.
Yeah, we're in those relationships. We're also, again, like selling people the lie of like, my partner is perfect. He fixed everything. Like, we're perfect for each other. Yada, yada, yada. And you're leaving out all the parts of like, yeah, I was crying for like 15 minutes after he left from work because he said that he did the dishes, and I went and looked and the sink is covered in food. And like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
And that's frustrating because that's like, I've had this conversation so many times, but like, he just can't see it. And it makes me feel like I'm crazy, and it makes me feel like I'm unloved, and I'm asking for too much, and yada, yada, yada. Like, I think that's the thing, is we need to go back to back before time, before marriage existed, before fucking Christianity existed. We need to go back to communal living. We need to go back to fostering relationships that actually feel authentic, and fostering relationships that the entire center point of the relationship is just getting to know each other, experiencing each other. That's it. That's what it's supposed to be. And if it becomes sexual, then that's fine. But if it doesn't, like, if it does, there shouldn't be any other weird rules applied to it. It shouldn't 100%. Be like, it shouldn't be as big of a thing as it should be. Do you have any advice for people who are low-key in a relationship realizing that it's a lie?
I'm sorry. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a really hard thing, because I think I know. It's the same as realizing that your kids do not fulfill every single part of you. And you were sold this lie that by having kids, you would feel whole and everything would be amazing and perfect, like internally, like just looking at them would be like, hey, all of these like problems that I had would all be fixed because I had kids. And it's the same lie that we were told about getting married or being in like a romantic relationship, And yeah, you have to grieve that. And you also have to then sit with like what you brought up earlier, which is like, are we actually feeling bad for single people, or are we mad because they have all that freedom to not like deal with the shit we're dealing with?
Totally.
And then I think from there, the actual advice, once you sit with like, oh God, I have bought into this lie, the same lie that told us that skinnier bodies are better, the same lies that taught us that lighter skin is better. Like all of those are the same like lies that taught us that like wrinkles are bad and youth is great. And all of that comes from the same place, which is to control you. And when you sit with that, and then you're like, fuck, I believed all these things, and you start deconstructing it, then you can start putting the energy into actually building genuine like relationships with your friends where they are allowed to fill that cup. Now, if that looks like eventually you want to exit out of your marriage, you don't want to live with a partner because you don't want to have to like be someone's domestic servant, absolutely do that shit. That's your journey. Everyone goes on their own journey. If you want to live an unconventional life like myself, where I get to live with my best friend and my husband, I think that all households should have a minimum of 3 people. I think it's a way smarter thing because then you get to decide what everyone's best at. I think communal living is great because then again, you have stuff that you crush that I'm not good at, and then I also get to do your laundry, and it's great because I get extra laundry that I get to do, and it feels amazing to me. But then I also know that when you go on cooking kicks, I get to eat lots of delicious food, and that's amazing. But I think that like just really investing in those friendships that goes to the wayside, like when you are in a like sexual relationship with someone because you feel guilty hanging out with your friends and prioritizing your own interests.
Oh yeah, I want to circle back on that as well. Like I realized too that the whole like guy friend or friend that's a girl, like people say that a lot. It's also a weird way of like, again, making sure that these friendships are placed down, and that way people know, oh, but we're not having sex. Like I hate the fact that the assumption always is like, if they're of the other gender, then we're having sex.
Yeah. Well, even with us, people are like, oh, I thought you guys were a couple.
Yeah.
Because, and they're always assuming there's like sexual element to it, where I'm like, no, I love her like just as much as I love my husband. There is no pick. There is like no like choosing that. Like, this is my life partner. Like, this is the person that I want to know until the day I die, that I want to do all of these things with.
Lock in, bitch.
But like, I don't have to want to have sex with this person to do that. And I don't have to like prescribe to that. And it's, again, because we all believed this stupid fucking lie that in order to have a relationship that we have, has to have those rules attached to it.
Bastardizes it. It makes it like a unholy thing for me. Like it's like we don't, I don't know, it's just as inappropriate as like assuming that like you're having sex with your family member. You know, like it's that's fucking weird. Don't bring sex into it. But yeah, it's that idea of like we need to, again, bring back communal living, bring back community, bring back like fostering relationships, with the whole point of it being we get to experience each other. That's the whole point. That's what it's meant to do. Right? We get to understand each other if we're lucky. And like,
well, yeah, because then it's amazing because once you start doing that, you do it more and more. So like I've had that connection with my clients for a long time, that like I like to have like hard conversations. So like a quick tiny little example of that the other day was I have a client who is trans, and we were talking about like, I was talking about being like mixed race and how like isolating that is, and you feel like you're never like enough of anything. And they were talking about how like that is the same, like we were just both talking about our feelings of like never feeling like enough, and how the ideal situation, and they said it perfectly, where it was like, but the ideal situation for me specifically is if I was just born into the correct body. And I was like, that's what it feels like when you are like, for me specifically, I can't speak for everyone. But like, that's what it feels like. It's like, but if I was just born with the correct like lineage, like if I was just wholly Mexican, that part of me would not be erased. And we had this like connection over the fact that it was like, oh, this makes sense. Like why, like we connect on such like a fundamental level because that both of us are walking around with that same wound that can't be fixed.
Oh yeah.
That you're just like, I will never fully fit into any room.
This is basically intersectionality, but for relationships.
Yes.
And for friendships, you're allowed to have intersectionality, but like, because the rest of the world doesn't operate like that.
Yeah. So
it's like,
when you allow yourself to like build these like, you know, it's a client, and like now we've gapped into that like client friendship realm, but like, will we, you know, go fucking, I don't know, live in a house together? No. But like, because you allow yourself to have these conversations and like open up to people in different ways, instead of only being like, the only person I talk about this to is my spouse, then I think that's the correct word I want to use, is spouse. Because I really don't like the romantic, because I want romance to be in all of my like friendships. But like, when you limit yourself to that belief that you can only have these conversations with your spouse, then you miss out on like, we both cried during that session, but I left out of there being like, wow, you understand a part of me that I've not been able to understand until now. And we both just felt truly like seen and understood about this like part of us that is on some level so small, but like is a gaping wound all the time, on like a way in which like I haven't had that. And even like with you, where like you're the first person that was like, no, you are mixed race, like that's how that works. And it took me forever to be able to be like, oh, that doesn't feel safe. And then for this person to be like, wow, yeah, that's what it feels like. Like that for me is what the trans experience feels like. And I was like, holy shit. That's crazy that like that feeling is persistent in anyone who just doesn't feel like they belong somewhere. Which when you say it out loud, you're like, yeah, that's obvious. But like when you haven't been able to like,
well, you haven't had that conversation with someone to like again, that validation, that true understanding, that seeing, that knowing.
And like I have so many conversations with people about stuff like that are like, I've never been able to talk to like somebody else about this, because they haven't been able to like center friendships as like a place of like, no, I'm allowed to just bare my soul to you, because we believe that the only person that we can bare our soul to is our spouse.
Absolutely. So. Which is honestly, again, it's isolating.
Yeah, which is the whole point. That's is to isolate you, so that way you're stuck with like being controlled.
To end this off, I think like for anybody who is like, but like I'm single and I'm still yearning, I just pour that yearning into your friends. I just want to say to you, just pour that into your friends.
You'll still yearn when you're in a romantic relationship.
Oh, there you go. Also coming from somebody who's been married for a long time. Who's been in a long-term relationship for a while.
I have yet to meet any person. And like, that isn't just me speaking of my own experience. That's me speaking of like, all the shit I read and all of the data that shows that like.
All the clients that you talk to, all the women that we like meet just on like an average day. Like there's a reason why so many women are reading romance novels, you know, and like the yearning will still exist whether or not you are single. Yeah. And your life is not like any less than or less whole when you're single.
Well, same as you don't. I think that's that lie, is that you are sold that you will feel more whole. And with the exception of the few moments that you get the social clout to say that you are married, you do not feel more whole. That yearning is always there, and that yearning only goes away when you broaden that definition of what romance means and you start applying it to other relationships in your life. And then you're like, but I did go on a date this week. I went on a date with you and it was perfect and it was amazing and it was everything they show me in movies. And I felt so pretty and so nice. And I went to sleep that night just being like, oh my gosh, my life is so wonderful. Like the amount of times hanging out with friends. And it's not to say that I don't also have that with Caboose. But it's that when I was younger and our like relationship was the only one, I was so lonely, and I meet so many women that are and men that are in these relationships that are so lonely. And I think that's honestly, I'm going to end it on this, I promise. I think that's honestly why you see the rise of polyamory is because it is trying to still work within that like social construct of romantic relationships, of having spouses, but trying to diversify that labor some. And, you know, and that's fine. I have no issue with polyamory. But I think that it's still working within that construct of like these people, and I have to have. Well, it's that I have to have these like type of like hierarchical and like sexual spousal relationships with people instead of also, and like to be fair, most polyamorous people are the most understanding about like, no, you need different people in your life. So it's like they are a societal bridge to the next evolution of like human relationships, which is back to that communal living.
Absolutely.
And communal relationships.
Fucking bonkers, dude. I can't believe it.
So, well, okay. Well, what was your advice? I gave my advice. What's your advice to people? Or what do you want to leave people off with?
I think what I would like to leave people off with is that, let's take it back. Let's take back the power. This idea that like you have to wholly be giving all of your energy to one person. Again, like it's not feasible. And also in those situations, like no wonder there's so much resentment if both of you are isolated alone in a cage. And that's not how any relationship should be, platonic or like romantic or sexual or whatever. You're meant to like live, and you're meant to grow, and things are meant to change. And I just want people to feel like hopefully a little bit lighter. And not having a full-on panic attack. So, what are you proud of for today?
For today, I am, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm proud of. I'm just in like a very like content, like overall just proud of like life.
Proud of life.
So not like one specific instance, but just like, hey, I'm proud that like I didn't just leave the gym to go take a nap in the car. But also I'm proud that I can acknowledge that I wanted to just take a nap.
Totally.
And like just, I'm just proud in like the person that I am.
I love that.
Not like the person I'm becoming, but like the person that's like wholly existent in this moment.
Satisfied and proud.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm proud of taking, I don't know. I feel like, taking the day to take care of myself. A lot of external stimuli happened that like I wasn't planning on. And just being able to have the freedom of like, I'm anxious about this, so I'm going to work on this instead was very nice.
Nice.
So I'm proud of that. Yeah. Just
I'm proud of you for that too.
Taking care of like whatever like baby Callie needed in that moment. Win for the week?
My win for the week is that I got so much shit done to like set us up for success for the next couple like months of like conventions and busyness. And just like knocked out a ton of stuff. And like that was both really exhausting and really like liberating to be like, we finally have a fucking master list for conventions and like a lot of stuff that just needed to get done. So that's like my win for the week.
That's amazing.
Thanks. What about you?
I did pull-ups for the first time in forever. I haven't been able to string together more than one pull-up in a few years.
Also, I will ask, what is your 1 rep max clean previously? Do you remember what it was?
My 1 rep max squat clean was 145 pounds.
Okay. Do you know what you did today?
I think I was repping out power cleans for 125. Yeah. So. Yeah. I'm pretty excited about that for reps. That's crazy. Yeah. So I'm pretty proud.
Okay. I just wanted you to sit in that for a second.
Thank you.
So y'all, she's coming for me. I need to take steroids.
No.
I need to take steroids. I don't like this.
Thank you.
I've always been much stronger than her, and that gap every single day at the gym is getting less and less.
You said,
I'm going to be the weaker friend. It's scary. It's bad.
Right,
I don't know how I'm going to adjust my identity. This bitch is coming for me. I got to figure something out. We got a kneecap her over here.
Oh my God.
Don't actually fucking kneecap her.
We'll just be equally strong.
No.
She's not having it.
You would technically be stronger because you weigh less than me.
That rule doesn't apply to me. I won't be satisfied until I can snatch as much as Caboose can.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Yeah. But like pound for pound, you're like very, very scary close. So I gotta get stronger.
I need to weigh more. I gotta keep pounding that protein.
Okay, thank you guys so much. If you hung on for this entire episode, I'm really proud of you. And if you are in a relationship, I'm right there with you. And if you are not in a relationship, Callie's right there with you. And I am also celebrating the fuck out of you. So wherever you are, know that if you thought this episode was really hard, it was.
Yeah.
If you got mad, journal about why that made you mad.
If you feel weird about romancing your friends, you need to ask yourself why. Because I felt weird about it too. I was like, that's not how that works. But then come to realize that's just the patriarchy speaking through me.
Yeah.
It's programming. It's all programming, baby. It's been decided for us. So you can decide differently though.
You can just decide that you don't want to subscribe to that anymore. Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, there's going to be pushback because you have all of that internal narrative. So you can have that decision and then you have to work on like deprogramming it in yourself. Yes. So thank you so much. We'll see you back next week after the Roots Convention. So we will talk about tattoos again.
Hopefully.
Maybe. But we love you. Bye.
Artlist.io